The next research we're going to produce is based on our quarterly unemployment trends report, which is a global report. I'm actually going to go through the data, but to introduce it, if I could call up Andrew Wilkinson. Is Andrew here? There you are. You're right there. It's hard to see over the lights. Andrew's the executive leader and group managing director of Europe and Asia PAC for PeopleScout. Andrew?
Thank you. I suppose I am also conscious of your time, so I'm not going to take a lot of Elliot's time, other than to say I think that the unemployment statistics around the world are consistently confounding us in the way that they're as low as they are. And one of the things that we're doing at PeopleScout is really looking into the data to better understand in all the key geographies in which we operate, how does that impact on how we go to market for talent. So there's a lot of data. I'm going to hand over to Elliot, and Elliot's going to walk you through the report. Thank you very much.
Thanks, you left me the hard part. All right, so we're all functioning. How many people in the audience are right now responsible for recruiting in more than one country? Okay, virtually everyone. And we have the need for a diverse global workforce, and we have the need for essentially exploring the state of the talent pool in a lot of countries, because you may be looking at new centers to open up. What centers are you going to expand? You're looking at getting all the information on working conditions and recruitment needs. The statistics, is a country having prosperity, because what if you start to build there and it takes you a year, but their economy's going gangbusters, and by the time you decide that's your location and actually can execute, you may already be in a very tight labor market. So there's a lot of data. And the unemployment data has got to be married to some other criteria as well. So we look at three things in putting together the report. Gross domestic product. How developed is the economy? How productive is the economy? And we'll go through a few of them. We're not going to go through all 45 countries, but if you guys really want to sit through a very long economic dissertation, raise your hands. All right, I'll go quicker. All right, so gross domestic product, we look at population, right? Because, to have I think it's very important for people to understand there are 8 billion people in the world. So all this talk about there's not enough, I can't find people. Yeah, there are a lot of people. But you can't find necessary skills, okay? There are a lot of people you won't hire. There are some people you wouldn't hire 2 years ago, you're probably hiring today. And then last but not least, we look at the unemployment rate. So what's the availability of talent in these so-called developed economies? So global unemployment remained low. We had 25 of the 49 countries analyzed in this report below 5%. That's the first time we've ever had that many. And, that is considered by most economists, and that's my trainings in labor economics, at or near full employment, okay? And there was a slight improvement over the Q1 findings, meaning unemployment rates dropped in economic speak, because it's always like you're going up, you're going down. What's an improvement mean? It means unemployment rates dropped. But not that much. Only 4 of the countries analyzed in the 49 countries in this report actually showed increases. And we'll talk about who those are. North America and APAC are still having incredibly high growth rates. North American GDP is running about 4% in the US. It's actually a little bit more in Mexico. A little slower in Canada. But North America is very busy. APAC, they're down to 8% GDP growth. Oh, poor APAC. All right, they were at 12% a few years ago. So you look at EMEA. EMEA was actually flat growth for a number of years, and now we're seeing EMEA's growth is picking up and improving, and we're seeing labor markets tighten, and I'm sure you're all feeling that right now. So let's look at the specific countries here. This is North America, and as you can see in North America, the US, and by the way, green means it dropped, and red means it went up. Okay, so North America, we're continuing to see drops in the unemployment rate in the US. By the way, 4% is not actually real. The government took out what's called the 03s and the 06s during the Obama administration in an effort to put lipstick on this pig, okay? The actual real number is closer to about 5.5%. What they took out were the people who were reporting themselves as underemployed or working part-time jobs to make up for full-time income. But it's still trending downward, okay, in the core group of the permanently employed. It's trending downward. There are less people looking for work. Canada, it trended up slightly, but pretty much still at a very, fairly low rate. Now you look at these areas, Brazil, in spite of their problems, the unemployment rate is very high, but it's starting to drop again. All right, now we'll see whether or not the new president, Bolsonaro, prime minister, will get the economy moving or make things worse. But the point is the trend is going in a positive direction, but Brazil used to be much tighter. Mexico stayed the same at 3.4%. It's been 3.4% since the government of Mexico learned how to lie, okay? Mexico is not really 3.4%, all right? Anyone wants to tweet against the Mexican government right now, Elliot Clark says you're a liar, please do. I love controversy. The reality is they don't count unemployment outside of major cities. So rural unemployment, those areas are not covered, but that probably doesn't interest you. In the major cities of Mexico, they actually have pretty good employment, particularly in the manufacturing sector. Colombia also dropping. Argentina actually went up, which was a bit of a surprise even for the Argentinians, and Peru is tightening up a lot. So you're seeing some of the businesses move out of Argentina, partially due to tax and other economic policies that are driving them into neighboring countries. We're also seeing a shift in tourism revenue from Argentina to Colombia and some other countries. And God help us, everyone stay out of Venezuela for the time being, okay? So let's move over to EMEA, the top 6 countries, and here we're ranking them by population. So, and this is really more or less on the continent, if you will. Russia, you can see the unemployment rate's actually low and actually dropped. So organizations looking to go into the Russian economy, it's getting tighter. Egypt, and I was talking to someone last night that's looking at a center in Cairo, actually has a very educated workforce and is fairly interested in attracting more business. The unemployment rate remains about 9.9%. So if you're looking for technical, semi-skilled labor, Egypt's sort of attractive right now, Cairo, and it's a stable government. Political instability plays a big role in economic growth, okay? And if you don't believe me, go visit Venezuela, all right? So Germany continues to be a bellwether state, always very good, reporting very good numbers, down at 3.4%. Turkey is improving. Its unemployment rate now is under 10%. So Turkey is another place, that you can consider as an economy that has an somewhat educated workforce, depending on the specific skills you may need. France is actually pretty high. That's actually coming down, but it was much higher a while ago. So the United Kingdom, is down at 4%. So for those of you who are operating centers in London, I'm sure you're feeling pain in the United Kingdom. And what's interesting about this number is if I listen to all of the pundits on BBC, a year and a half ago, they predicted rioting the streets of London and 50% unemployment rates because of Brexit, okay? And I actually entered a zone called Don't Cares It, all right? Everyone's just going on and doing business. How it plays out, we'll see. But companies have to figure out how to work around these things, and they frankly are. And that's what you're seeing in the unemployment rate. The actual Brexit is not damaging the US economy the UK economy at this point. It's unclear as to whether it even will. It'll make all your lives more difficult from a talent mobility perspective. That much is assured. But in terms of its economic, this mass exodus of companies or the inability to trade, companies always figure out a way around their governments. And that's been the historical standard. China actually also, that unemployment rate also is only in urban centers, not necessarily rural China, but you're probably not looking to put plants in rural areas, 3.8%. India continues to be about the same, ticked up slightly. India is an interesting economy. It's gotten much more expensive, but India, and this is really important from a labor economics perspective, much younger than China. much, much younger. So something like, 50% of the Indian population is under the age of 30. In China, more than 50% of the population is over 50. So the world's most populous country, and I'm not kidding, is running out of people. Okay, so years ago, I had a whole Chinese delegation walk out of a conference. I spoke at a thing with the UN about sourcing, and I described China as a bubble. So you all need to be aware, if you've got a lot of operations in China, China needs to become a net importer of talent because of all the retirements that are looming in the Chinese economy. It's a real big problem. Indonesia continues to be strong. Bangladesh, particularly the manufacturing sector, and Japan is very, very low. The Japanese economy has not been fabulous, but it still continues to operate at very high employment levels of those that are employable. Japan, like China, is also aging out. Japan's got a huge number of retirees. So you've got to look at those things as well from the standpoint of skills. Not only is unemployment low, you might not be able to find the skills you need because there's just not enough workers. These will be available, by the way, after the conference. So this is what the world map looks like. And I showed this last night. This was 11 quarters ago. All right, yellow means over 5%, 5 to 9.9%. You can see most of the world is yellow, all right? We have a couple spots that are green in China. Mexico is blue because they lie. Did I mention that? But you're mostly yellow, okay? So if you think, that's been an ongoing thing about labor economists, about trying to get real data from some of these countries. You get public relations, not data, okay? So if you go forward, let's look at what the world looks like today. All right, you see a lot less yellow, a lot more green. The only country that's one of the substantial economies, which is Brazil, has rolled backwards, okay? From here to here. You even see areas that, you'd expect sorry, wrong way. South Africa, has sort of, not done great across the 2 years. There's issues there and some stability issues and whatever, and I think that discourages investment. In economies where there's a business-friendly environment, there's investment, companies like you will go, and you'll see a net improvement in the economy. But this is today. This is what the world looks like, and it is tough. You have a big challenge ahead of you. So this report is available on HROtoday.com. I think it's also available on the PeopleScout website. This is, as I joke around, it's news you can use. So as you're looking around the world as to where you want to deploy talent, this is a very important report. We do it quarterly. Frankly, I know we get, 1,500 to 2,000 downloads a year, Mr. McRae? 2,100 downloads of this report. So people are definitely downloading it and reading it and using it a lot.